everyone, it's Bethany, and in this tutorial we are going to be doing Infusible Ink on the new Infusible Ink wine bags that just came out. So I'm looking forward to this because I think this is a really fun little gift that you could give to a friend. It'll be fun to create, but it's also just fun because I'm excited about their new blanks that are out and excited about the new possibilities that we can do with Infusible Ink. So we have the little wine bag right here, and then we're also going to use a heat resistant mat or a heat mat for our EasyPress, and then we're going to use a piece of cardstock, and the Infusible Ink we're going to use is called the Pink Lemonade pattern, and I love it. We're going to use this one right up here, and you'll see how neat it is. So it has like a little bit of a I don't even know, it looks kind of like paint splatter maybe, but it has really vibrant colors, and it's kind of hot pink, and then it gets pale pink, and it has an orange, and it just has some really fun texture and color in it. So we're going to be using a really simple design. So when I use something more simplistic in a design, I kind of like to pair it with something a little bit more fun and vibrant in the actual ink, because it gets the excitement going when you have a little bit something simple and then paired with something a little bit more fun and interesting in texture. So we'll also use some heat resistant tape, and then we're going to use a lint roller and then some tweezers. So I'm going to actually do this project with the little mini EasyPress. I've actually had a lot of questions on if you can do Infusible Ink with the EasyPress Mini or the mini EasyPress. So I'm going to do that with the mini today. I think it'll be really nice because there are some seams on the side of the bag plus at the bottom. So it'll be a nice way to avoid those seams and get a nice and even press. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and hop into Cricut Design Space. I'll show you the pre-made design that's already loaded, and it's already pre-made and ready to go. You just have to go ahead and cut it and you'll be all set to go. All right, let's hop in there and take a look. Okay, so I'm in Cricut Design Space, and I'm just in the projects that are inspired by Infusible Ink, and they have some pre-made projects that make just designing and creating so quick because they're already designed and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this It's My Birthday wine bag. You can find all these projects under the projects tab over here, and then you can just kind of browse for the type of project you're doing. So I was under the Infusible Ink category. So I'm going to select this. It's really cute, and I'm going to go ahead and select Make It. I'm going to be using my Explore Air 2 for this project. So what I can do is, since I'm using Infusible Ink, I'm going to mirror my image. So I went ahead and mirrored it, and it's already sized and ready to go. Now I'll go ahead and click continue, and it's going to locate my air machine, and then I can go ahead and select the Infusible Ink transfer sheet. So let's see if I have it in my popular right here. Infusible Ink transfer sheet is the selection that I'm going to use. I'm going to use default pressure, and I'm going to go ahead and get my material all loaded, and we can get it cut out. Okay, so I'm grabbing my Infusible Ink. This is a brand new box, so I'm going to have to open it all up. And my hands are clean and they're dry. They don't have any lotion on them, so it's very important when using Infusible Ink. You want to make sure that everything is dry in your surroundings, including your hands. So I'm just going to open this up and make sure that I keep this nice black sleeve intact so that we can place it right back inside. So you'll notice right away that the color is different right now, but it will brighten up and be more in the same tones of the actual box once it gets heated. So I'm going to grab my actual paper that I'm using. Okay, so this is the ink that I'm going to use. Isn't that neat? Kind of watercolory with like a little splatter. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to grab one sheet of the butcher paper that comes with it. So we'll grab one of those as well. And then with the rest of the stuff, we can just get it all rolled back and placed right back into the bag. That way we can store it in a dark place that is free of moisture. So we'll put this little decusant pack back in and all the other little odds and ends that come with it. Okay, so now I'm just going to place my Infusible Ink on my mat. So I'm using my green mat, and you can kind of look and see if there's a particular side that you want to use in terms of pattern. I don't think I'm going to get too picky. I think I'll just use this side over here. But if you wanted to rotate it and use, a particular part of the pattern or particular color, then you could, put it on your mat in any way that you'd like. So I'm just going to place mine right on my mat just like this. I'm going to use my brayer tool to get it all nice and down and flat, just like that. Okay. go. I love the brayer tool. It's so handy in just making sure all the material is nice and flat. So now we can open up our machine here and we'll get our mat loaded. Again, it's ink side face up, and then our image is mirrored. So that will make sure that our image and design is going in the right direction. So I'll go ahead and click cut, and we'll get this all cut out. I'm really excited to see how this looks. It'll be really neat. I'm excited to see this Infusible ink too. I actually purchased 2 boxes of this because when I saw it, it just kind of resembled all of my style, so I really like it. So this is my first time actually using it though, so I have it stocked up in the background, but I haven't actually used it yet. Okay, so I used my paper trimmer to just trim off my little design and save the rest of my Infusible ink for another project. And now we can get to weeding it. So weeding is really easy with Infusible ink. All you're going to do is just kind of crack it. And it usually kind of cracks when it's coming off of your mat. But if you need to, you just kind of roll it and crack it. And then you can just find a piece and start ripping off the extra. So in this one, we're going to do the surrounding area. This is actually going to leave the wine bottle as an outline, and then we'll have little letters on the inside that are going to come out. And you can keep the letters if you wish, and you could use them for another project. So know that if you want to do that, you can definitely do that. And you'll just want to be careful on the letters that you don't take out any of the middles. So like this little A, the little middle stayed in there. Let me go ahead and zoom in so you guys can really see that. Okay, so I am just going through and weeding out all of the letters because those are going to be hollow. Again, you'll be using just your fingers. So if you need to use a tool, they recommend the tweezers. You'll just want to be really careful that you don't scratch the Infusible ink, because if you scratch some of the ink off, then it won't transfer. There will be no ink to transfer to your project. So you'll just want to be careful of that. So I'm just going to go through, and you just kind of bend and peel, and then those little letters just come right up. So it's really easy to do. Just bending and peeling up. Again, you'll want to make sure your hands are really dry and that they're free from any, oily type lotions or anything really. So just make sure you give your hands a wash and dry before you work with your Infusible ink. That way you don't get it wet, because it'll just smudge and smear. So how are you guys doing with Infusible ink? I know a lot of you are very eager about it. You like it, but then I also know that it can be really intimidating. And some have just been intimidating either by just the actual process or a previous fail with it. So if you are intimidated because of a fail, I will place a link to a tutorial that I just did about a week ago where I was doing a tote bag and my transfer did not go very well the first time around, and quite honestly, and I heard from a lot of you as well, my process was really good, and so I'm not sure why it didn't transfer, and sometimes that just happens. So if you need help learning how to fix that, then go ahead and look at that tutorial. Hopefully we get this flawlessly down today, but there are ways to fix it if you have an Infusible ink fail, so try not to be too intimidated for too long. So look how cute this turned out. I think this is going to be fun. I like the variation in color. I think that's going to be really, really neat. So now when we go to lay it down on our project, we're going to flip it over, and then it will be the right side up. So, or the right direction. So when we lay it down, that's why we mirror it, because now it'll be the right direction. So we are going to get our wine bag all ready to go, and then we will get this pressed on. I'm going to make sure that I cut my cardstock in half because we are going to be placing that inside the wine bag. So I think in half is going to be just the trick. And you'll just want to make sure your cardstock is at least as big as your design, because what it's doing is it's protecting your design from transferring on the back of the wine bag. So this is the right size. We're all set to go. Okay, so we're just going to place our wine bag right here, and we're going to grab our cardstock, and it calls for 80-pound cardstock. I don't know that mine is that thick, so I'm just going to double up on my cardstock and put 2 pieces, one on top of another, and I'm going to place that right inside my bag. I'm just going to slip that right in and put that as center as possible. It really needs to just be under wherever the infusible ink is going to go down. So that's down just like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take my lint roller. I'm going to grab a new sheet and I'm going to lint roll the bag. That way it's free from anything that we don't want on the bag. And sometimes it's hard to see if there's anything on there, but this process is really important. So just take the step, even if you think it's perfectly clean. Just make sure. So I'm just doing a quick little job here. Trying to change up my direction a little bit too. Okay, so now once that's done, we're going to cover it with our butcher paper. It's nice and clean. And we are going to grab our little press and we are going to preheat the tote for 15 seconds. So this is going to remove any moisture that could have been in there, and it's also going to really get that crease out, hopefully, that was in the wine bag from being folded and shipped. So I'm going to kind of do it for multiple reasons here. Okay, so that is good. Put that right back on my base here. So I'm going to remove this butcher paper and we're just going to let this go ahead and cool down a little bit, because if you go ahead and put your infusible ink transfer sheet on right away, if it comes into contact with heat, it's going to start transferring and then you can't pick it up and move it in case you didn't get it centered. So I want to make sure that this is completely cooled, or at least a lot cooler, before I place my little sheet on there. Okay, so that's cooled down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my design and I'm going to get that placed right on my little bag here. I'm just going to get it right where I want it. Okay, so I think I have it right where I want it. To be honest, I think the bag might be a little bit crooked or lopsided, because I keep thinking that that my design is off, but I think the bag, like in this corner, looks a little bit like lopsided, so I think my design is right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of my heat resistant tape. So you want to make sure that you use heat resistant tape, and I'm just going to place it down on the edges here, and I'm going to prevent it from moving, because with infusible ink you do not want to have anything move, but at the same time you're using the mini EasyPress that has movement in it. So it kind of makes me nervous sometimes, given that it's a product that you don't want to, that you really want to keep still, but then you're using movement on top of it. So all in short, we're just going to use some tape to really make sure that the design stays put while we're applying movement to the top of it. Okay, so I think that'll be about good. You can use more or less based on your own personal comfort. I have my cardstock inside there. I can see the outline, so I know that it's providing a barrier. And I also have not put my design on any seams, so everything is on even playing ground, really. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my butcher paper right back on top. And then this is going to be pressed for 75 seconds, again at that hottest temperature, so it's at the 3 little wavy marks here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start pressing, and I'm just doing slow movement here. And again, this is for 75 seconds, so the mini EasyPress does not have a timer on it, so I will just put the timer on my phone, and then it will remind me when it's been enough time. This is the first time I've used or started off using my mini EasyPress for infusible ink. So I'm excited to see how this turns out, because I love using the mini. So the reason I didn't was because I was really intimidated by the movement. I've used my mini to fix some mistakes with infusible ink, or the one mistake I've had so far. So I know it works nice, but I just haven't used it. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the butcher paper and just let it cool down a little bit. And it says it's going to be a warm peel, so we're just going to let it cool down for, it says about 30 seconds. And then we can go ahead and rip it up. or pull it up. I'm super nervous about pulling this up. I'm still waiting for it to cool just a little bit, but I'm just nervous. I always get nervous when it's time to reveal the infusible ink, even if I'm not filming. It's just, I feel like with iron-on and everything else, you can see through the material, so you can see if it's working or not, and it's really easy to remedy if it doesn't go down right the first time. But with infusible ink, it always makes me super nervous. So, okay, so I am going to just start, and we'll see what we see. All right. Oh, it looks really cute. We might have to fix it a little bit, but it's turning out really good. I think I missed a little bit of pressing right over here because it's not as vibrant at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, before I peel the rest of that up, I'm just going to place that right back down. That way it doesn't get uneven or anything. So let me place that back down. Okay, so I want to do just a little bit more of a focus press on this side. So I'm just going to do more over here. It didn't look like it was as vibrant. So we'll just get that really good. It's easier if you know before peeling all of it up, because it's easier to realign and just repress real quick. Because that top part looked really vibrant. So, also this infusible ink has a lot of variation in it, as you saw in the box. So there are going to be some areas that are naturally lighter than others, and that is intended, but I think some of that was actually ink that just didn't transfer. So we'll just give it a little bit more help here. Okay, so we'll see if that helped. There's no harm in trying. Okay, so I'm going to let it cool for just a second, and then we will try to peel it up again. Okay, so it cooled for a little bit, and now I'm going to try again. Oh, that looks so much better. Look at that. How cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. And it looks a lot better, so we got a lot more of that ink down, and it does have a little bit of a lighter top, but that's intended because all of the ink is already off, so that's just a little bit of the lighter part of the design. So remember, this design has some variation in color in it, so there's going to be some naturally lighter parts. So if that bothers you, I love it because that's what I was going for, so I intentionally picked this out. But if that's something that bothers you and you're not wanting something that's variation color, that's totally fine. Just pick an infusible ink that's more solid, and when you have a solid infusible ink, then that's fine. But I think it turned out really cute, and the repressing helped really, really well. So it got it all down, and it looks really, really nice. What do you guys think? I think it's fun. I like the marbly. I love how there's a lot of different colors inside too. So then you have a nice clean back because the little cardstock inside protected the ink from transferring to the back. So that looks really cute. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I think it turned out really pretty. I love the colors, and I just love how this turned out. And I really liked that I was using the Mini EasyPress for this project, because that was personally something that was intimidating to me behind the scenes, to use something that uses movement on infusible ink that likes things to be completely still. So quite honestly, I think I've completely changed my opinion and almost prefer doing it with the Mini, because it's easier to fix the imperfections if the ink doesn't transfer completely the first time. So I'm really proud of myself for trying that, because it was really intimidating me, but now I've conquered it, and I honestly think I might prefer it. So be sure you're subscribed. I think my next project with infusible ink may be a t-shirt with the Mini, so I think that'll be really fun. Also, the pillowcases came in. They finally came in. They came just a couple days after my last video, so my stuff actually shipped really, really quickly from Cricut. So the pillowcases are in, and we are going to be doing those in a tutorial coming up as well. So make sure you give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Please be sure to subscribe so you see what's coming up, and be sure to leave me a comment and let me know how you're doing it with infusible ink and what you guys want to see coming up this summer. I have a really fun content list, but let me know if you have any other ideas too, and I'll see if I can sneak some other things in as well. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.